A warm welcome back to your aviation and news recap. Today, I'll be taking a look at American Airlines, who have announced some pretty big news regarding their crew. Condor and WestJet have entered the headlines for some fantastic developments for customers, and Etihad Airways has revealed a special livery. Let me begin with American Airlines, where according to Bloomberg, and now confirmed by the airline, they've stopped training and hiring pilots as they struggle with complex industry conditions. Ultimately, American Airlines is hardly the first airline to have cancelled training. This will now run through to the end of 2024 at the earliest. We have seen several other major companies in the United States be forced to do something similar in a pretty big period for airlines, readjusting their expectations with regards to growth. The warning signs were present for some time, and this came in the form of comments from American Airlines in recent months regarding the training and hiring of pilots. Initially, they planned to slower their hiring and training, likely to occur across the summer months, i.e. now, but that has now extended through to the end of the year. The actions such as these are in response to ultimately several factors that make operating an airline far from optimal at this point. However, you could generalize them by saying there is a lot of uncertainty around the day-to-day operations, and this means airlines have to be very careful with how they really execute their plans. American Airlines is facing delivery delays for new aircraft, and this is arguably one of the biggest things that has affected their plans. We have seen the phasing out of older aircraft have to be delayed, and also planned network expansion to meet high levels of demand delayed. Basically, the airline is incapable of growing at the rate it would ideally like to because of the delays that are affecting its business. Most notably, Boeing jets across the 737 MAX family and 787 family of aircraft are the ones that are really causing American Airlines to feel the effects the most. Remember, these are two aircraft types that are important, especially the 787 when considering their next generation long-haul flying. These delays have really forced them to adjust their growth forecasting for the remainder of the year, and why they've had to also pull the plug on the training and hiring of pilots, because of complexities such as these. While the company does know that pilots are going to continue to retire alongside mandated retirements, in the past couple of years it has hired several thousand in response to the global pandemic. We know this decimated the aviation industry, especially in the role of, say, workers. Despite this hiring and the many changes that have taken place in the industry, American Airlines believes it needs to wait before it recommences hiring and training at the rate that it maybe would ideally like. As well, there needs to be the sorting out of supply chains and much more in our industry before they feel they can optimally move forward at rates that they would have previously cited as attainable, but now not to be. Moving now over to Condor in Germany and WestJet of Canada, who are celebrating the deepening of a partnership. We're strictly focusing this time though on codeshare benefits, with the Canadian carrier now having direct access to Frankfurt International Airport in Germany. Thanks to what is the expansion on a long-standing agreement, connectivity to Frankfurt will be possible from 5 Canadian airports, including Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, Toronto, and Halifax. This 10-year partnership, believe it or not, did not previously include code sharing, which is why this has become such big news. The pair instead were focusing on interline agreements. The extension and enhanced growth should benefit customers significantly. WestJet will sell tickets on flights operated by Condor from the aforementioned 5 Canadian locations to Frankfurt, being the busiest airport in Germany. The ease of purchasing an itinerary on a single ticket will enable greater connectivity from Canada to Germany and vice versa, and we'll see the likes of checked baggage and other single ticket associated benefits carry through. And while there's obviously a lot of focus on WestJet customers who are said to benefit from the codeshare partnership, passengers on Condor services will also have greater access later in the summer. Where? Well, WestJet says it'll offer better services to cities in the United States for guests connecting via a Canadian city that Condor serves. Benefits. So really these codeshare agreements are mutually beneficial, whether it is in Germany or whether within Canada, even through to the United States. Condor knew that when they returned to Calgary, they definitely needed to focus on the strengthening of their relationship with WestJet. And the codeshare agreement that has not only been announced but launched is deemed as the best outcome for all parties. The German airline says that it will also streamline its Canadian operations further by allowing passengers to jump right on their connecting WestJet flight if applicable after immigration without the need to collect their baggage. So really, deals like these obviously benefit your airlines, but for customers too, the main goal is to make life as easy as possible. On to the final story, and Etihad Airways has unveiled a special livery that'll feature on one of 6 A321neos joining the airline's fleet momentarily. The special livery helps to celebrate the airline's 20th anniversary and includes a focus on the company's pathway towards its future. The livery does feature the facets of Abu Dhabi colours on show towards the tail, representing key elements of life in its home, from the beach, the buildings to the rolling sand dunes. However, really, the main adjustments come down in the fuselage, where markings of the iconic landmarks across Abu Dhabi have been etched on in a carefully curated line drawing. The decal, which is in Arabic and English, ultimately does wrap around both sides of the fuselage. Etihad believes the livery does reflect the company's journey, which has certainly had its highs and lows, but also represents the journey ahead, which will focus significantly on expansion and align with Journey 2030. The addition of the first A321neo is a pretty important step for the Abu Dhabi-based carrier, as it looks to grow its network as briefly touched on, and boost frequency to key markets. The first of 6 A321neo jets which will feature this livery has been undergoing a period of activity, during which crews have had the chance to familiarise themselves with what is a new plane. Actually, Etihad Airways only committed to the A321neo in late 2023, and Etihad Airways officials say that this turnaround is one of the quicker, which has been fantastic for them. Normally, from purchase, order, or agreement signed to eventual operation, it will be a couple of years. But in the case of this combination, it's just been around 7 months. The airline is pleased that this has been able to take place so quickly because it's one of the few good developments regarding its fleet. That is because aircraft deliveries, like touched on with the American Airlines story, have been delayed considerably, and Etihad Airways has felt the effects. Therefore, delivery of this new A321neo will enable it to be able to speed up its fleet renewal efforts, and currently it's preparing for the arrival of 20 new planes in 2025. This is what it's expecting and what it will be hoping for. Remember though, because of just how the industry has moved across recent years, it's very hard to forecast these things, and how often they come true is a whole nother debate in itself. The A321neo will be deployed across the airline's short to medium haul network, so you'll be able to see this special livery to locations across not just India, but also within the Middle East. Thank you very much for tuning into this aviation news recap. Thank you very much for the support here on the channel. Take care, be safe. I'll see you same place, same time tomorrow for another aviation news recap.
And we'll fly.